today is my 1.5 year exactly date from transplant.
All right.
June
Wow,
5th.
good for you.
Yeah. And so anyway, with Father's Day coming up, we thought, who better, the best father-daughter combo that we know in the world is you guys. Kyle. So Kyle, can you say a quick hi? Hey.
How you doing? Yep.
And Kourtney.
Okay.
Hey.
And so I'm gonna just let Lizzie explain where and how we met briefly.
So basically we met, we went to a talk about how to get, very involved in in a fast track program to figure out how to find a kidney donor. So either that would be creating a social media page or doing things to help advocate for yourself to find a living kidney donor and get there sooner. So that's where we met Kourtney and Kyle, because they spoke at that event. And we talked to them afterwards. So.
Yeah, I just want to say briefly the significance of that day for me, which was really a result of hearing Kourtney and Kyle, was that I was unsure. I was already on dialysis, but I was unsure whether or not to reveal to the world or anyone that I actually was on dialysis. People I worked with, no one really knew. And I went to that meeting not really knowing what to expect. And I always refer to that meeting as a room full of love. That's what I felt, and different speakers and stuff, and especially Kyle and Kourtney. And so really, after hearing Kyle and Kourtney speak and then meeting them afterwards, I decided to share with the world that what was going on with me, because someone told me you can't get help unless you ask, if you tell people. So I'm gonna just turn it over, because the whole purpose of this day is this interview and this lead up to Father's Day is to share special father-daughter connections. And so I thought we could start with Dad Kyle, just sharing what is really unique about the connection with your daughter beyond just fathers and daughters are special.
Yeah. Well, I'll go to the point that when my wife and I got married, our one of the things that we thought was most important to us was having a family. And I think a lot of people want to make sure that there's, you want to have children because you want it to be part of the bigger picture. So there was nothing more important to us when, as we went on, when my wife when we decided to have a child, and our first child, who is on the screen today, we have 3, the time when we decided that we were ready to start a family. And it was just an exciting moment, and the emotion of having our child born, being in the hospital, watching the birth, and just watching that child. And by the way, we had no gender preference. We didn't care. We just wanted a child. And it was probably, that's definitely the top of my greatest moments of my life and my wife's life, when we finally had that child. Changing diapers, all that kind of stuff, to me, that was wonderful. As gross as that sounds, it was still everything we wanted. We were committed. Now we did run into some rocky stuff. We could talk about that later, but that to me was so incredible. The emotion, I was a big baby. It was great, but it's okay. So I'll let you take your next point now, and we'll work on that later on then. So.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe Lizzie can, talk to Kourtney a little bit about her, what went on with her, and
So what were the things that kind of stood out to you the most, either growing up or over time with your dad, some of the best memories or moments that you've had together?
Yeah, so we were really fortunate because my dad is a teacher for one more week. Woo. And he had summers off. So we always got to like spend all day with him growing up, which was a lot of fun. And my grandparents, his parents lived like very close to us. So we spent a lot of time like doing things like on snow days, we would drive and we would go sledding, like, and he was always up for taking us sledding. And like, then we would go to my grandparents and have hot chocolate all the time. Or in the summer, he would take us to the pool every day because he wanted us to get outside. And like, that's a lot of stuff that a lot of people don't have, which was great. Also, because his hours were a little more flexible than my mom's, he always took me to my dance classes and my gymnastics classes, and he'd be the only guy in the room full of females, which was always funny to me, but it's awesome. And it's stuff that I'll always remember and stuff that I look for when I'm looking for someone to have kids with. Like, I want someone who would do those same things, because you don't realize how lucky you are until you see how other people's relationships are. And then you see, oh my gosh, like I had all these things that a lot of people don't have. And it's fantastic.
It is. Do you want to share something just personally in between before we go back to Kyle?
About
Just, I don't know, I just really wanted to, like, it reminded me, I just have to interject about like my experience, you know, with Lizzie, both in how you shared about the birth and how that is and will always be the most amazing moment of my life. And Lizzie is the most amazing gift to me. You know, you have 3 kids, right?
Yep.
But also the fact that when you were talking, Kourtney, I mean, Lizzie can talk herself, but I mean, that was where the times that I treasured, you know, being at all the swim meets and being there when my wife couldn't be because she was in a very busy job, and I worked from home. So that was something that I could identify with, you know, as a daughter saying it, but yeah.
No, I know what you mean, like always having my dad there for all the events, because he had a job that allowed him also to kind of be there all the time. It wasn't like he was a 9 to 5, you know, wasn't there for all the different sporting events, and he was either like a assistant coach on the team, and you kind of like take those little things for granted. You like don't realize that because not everyone's parents could be at the games or just be there for them, so it's nice.
So I don't know, we have like, I know you guys have, you know, limited time, but could we maybe fast forward to maybe some of the challenges that came up unexpectedly? Also, you talk about just Kourtney, the career or the choices that you made, you know, to go on as a career, and how sort of things flowed that led up to maybe some challenges that you could share with the audience.
Yeah. So, actually, I think my dad would agree. In my senior year of high school, I kind of dropped off a little bit. Then I pulled myself together. I finished my Bachelor of Science in 3.5 years. And then I applied to PT school without telling anybody. And I just kind of went to school, and I was like, I'm going to be a doctor of physical therapy, and this is what I'm going to do. I did 3 years of school. It was really hard. And then in my last clinical rotation, which was April 28th, I believe was the date of my last day, I started to feel very sick during my last rotation, and I would be freezing all the time, and I was super tired, and I would throw up every day. It was awful. I thought it was just maybe some kind of bad anxiety. Like, I didn't know what it was. I told my parents about it, and we just kind of were like, well, maybe like I'm anxious. Like, I kind of refused to see that anything was wrong. I got blood work the day following my clinical, somehow made it through, and I passed, thank God. And I got a call from my doctor saying I need to go to the hospital right away. And I found out I was in kidney failure and I needed emergency dialysis, which was the scariest moment. My mom actually took me, and I remember the doctor telling me, like, I think your kidneys are failing. And I remember looking at my mom and I was like, you need to call Dad, because this is really serious. And turns out they were. No one knows why still, 3.5 years later. And I started hemodialysis, which was awful. But in that time, I still had to finish my comprehensive exam for my physical therapy so I could graduate, which was actually 2 weeks after I got out of the hospital. My dad drove me down, And I took the exam all by myself in a room with one of my professors, and he stayed there the whole time because it was down at Widener, which is like an hour and a half away. And I somehow passed my comprehensive exam, which was very exciting. I remember my professor ran the Scantron while my dad and I were standing there, which was agonizing, but I passed, which was amazing. And then I still had my boards because I had to get licensed. So I would spend my 4 hours of hemo studying for my physical therapy boards. And that was for about 2 months. And then I took my board exams in July. It's a 5-hour exam. I took it in 2 hours because I was so sick. And I somehow passed. And now I work as a physical therapist, which has been a lot easier since I got my transplant, for sure.
I think that leads to kind of Kyle like filling it, continuing the story.
Yeah, well, it actually goes to the point that when people say they do anything for their child, you like to think it's not rhetoric. And when I have three children, and they're all very different and interesting, but by default, she became the most difficult, but that's by default. When she was born, as our happiest moment of our life became a very tragic moment, because what she did not tell you, because she was very young, was she actually had a heart issue and required surgery as an infant. So my wife and I had to instantaneously learn not just to become new parents, but also to be able to treat a child who is medically compromised from day one. And but we also knew that this was our most important thing in our life at the moment. And we learned how to run a nasogastric tube, and for those who are unfamiliar, down the nose into the belly, to feed her every day, because she couldn't eat, because her heart was at a situation wasn't strong enough. She'd pass out trying to eat. So for 6 months, well, the first month spent down in St. Christopher's Hospital in Philadelphia, but the 5 months after that, we became medical experts. And probably the second most miraculous day of our life was the day after her final surgery, reparation surgery on her heart, when she drank her first bottle without passing out. And that was like the most amazing, and it sounds ridiculous until you're there, but that was the most amazing moment in our life. And of course, we cried like babies. But 6 months, we started feeling that life was going to be, make a big turnaround. And as we went through, and it was nice to hear my daughter talk about some of the things, because I did value the idea of the fact that I could be home, and decided not to pursue any other career beyond my teaching career, because I knew principals would be working too hard. Because I really wanted to be there with my children, each and every one of them, and do as much as we could. But when we got to the college years, I think we tried to give lessons, let our kids have enough. We hoped we set enough examples, but also let them know we'll help you, but you also need to be part of the help. And once she figured out what she wanted to do, I like to think that the fact that it wasn't a hard lesson, but that we provided enough that, because she always busted her hump. She really did work hard all her life, till that senior year in high school. But that, I could throw a bone there. But the one thing that we always were proud of was how when she got something she wanted, she really was driven to do it. And that diagnosis back in 2016 probably was the worst thing that I ever had to hear, because all I could think of is I don't want to outlive my children. And that's the first thing that went in my head. And I was at school, and I was kind of a zombie. My people at school were really good. I left in the middle of the day, and it was a crushing blow. When I say a crushing blow to me, it was a crushing blow to me because my only thing I really cared about is that my family was able to live out their expectations, their life goals, and have things happen. And all of a sudden I saw this, and I know she's it too, obviously, as a horrible obstacle. But also at that same moment, as I sat in there, once again thinking, this is my child, and I was anything that I can do to help my kids, that's what I was going to do. And I'm going to say probably within a couple hours of getting my head together and wrapping around this and actually realizing that what was happening was permanent, kidney donation became the absolute goal. If I could do it, and by the way, you might be able to tell, we do have a strong genetic here. So I kind of felt that it was going to work right away. But that became the ultimate goal, just about, within that first understanding that this was not reversible. And would I have ever thought about kidney donation or any kind of organ donation? We all put that on our license, but when you really think about it and put yourself in the context, it became, and I've said this to you already, Jay, about how all of us in this screen right here are members of clubs we never would have joined unless a situation came up. So we all basically ended up in a club. Thankfully, there is people out there that, like yourself, by the way, who advocate and help and can do all this stuff. But like I said, for my family, for my wife, for us, this was a mission, because I don't want to be out. I don't want to outlive any of my kids. I want them to have a life. I want to see that life. I want to enjoy their riches. I've had enough great stuff happen to me. I want to be part of the great things and celebrate the great things that they have. And the kidney donation was not anything I ever hesitated on. If I can do, if I can help my kids, unfortunately I can't help the other two if the same thing happens, but like we've said, if you could, you would. And most people have always said they would do it again. And without a doubt, it would be something. And you talk about your altruistic donors, people who, that to me, ultimate gift there, especially if it's somebody you do not know. But the idea that we can give life in a world that seems pretty cruel at times, there's a lot of positive there. It's just hard to find. And this, I could not afford ever living a day without her and my other two kids around. I mean, to me, that's the best gift ever. So I don't know if I babbled enough for you, but
you're perfect. I just want to go back and say, maybe I'm not a Zoom expert yet, but I wanted to say you're amazing, Kourtney, for persevering through not just any schooling, but some rigorous stuff, and then coming at the end with your kidney failure that was unexpected. So I just wanted to say, I didn't say it immediately because I was just new with the whole Zoom interviewing thing, but I think that you are amazing, and the fact that you can persevere, and then now you're really helping other people as a physical therapist in a meaningful way that's really critical. So I think that you're amazing, and it's really amazing to see the bond that you have, that you already had, and then to see this bond over the your dad donating your kidney. I just wanted to go back and say, you both had a significant role in my life, because as I was looking for, I didn't, first of all, I told you, but not telling anyone that I was on dialysis. And then after we met you, Kyle does a great description about how afterwards I asked to speak to Kyle, and then you spoke to Lizzie about like careers and stuff like that. And
yeah,
that meant a lot to you.
Yeah, that was really nice, because I kind of got an idea of like what other things were out there, because I think I was just in high school. So it was kind of like, wow, you know what I mean? Like there's other things that are out there besides, the pre-medical and all that stuff. So.
And then later you guys were instrumental, if you remember, because I had a kidney donation awareness event that was happening with the organization Renewal from Brooklyn. sending the rabbis to come to the meeting, and at the last minute someone was sick and they had to send a replacement. And so I called Kyle, he was at school. I said, you were already scheduled to come to support me, and your wife, right? Which was amazing that Kyle, his wife Kay, and Kourtney were coming just to be there in the room of this awareness event, where people were being educated about living kidney donation. And then I called Kyle like an hour before, can you guys speak at the meeting? I don't think we have it, and he said, we'll do it, we got it. And then I think Kourtney was a little bit like surprised, but they both came through for me again, and they were there speaking at the person's house at this kidney donation awareness event. And then later, while I was still on dialysis, Kyle came to visit me during he was off as a teacher, who Kourtney said quickly, after 33 years, in 1 week will be retiring. 34 years. Okay, 34 years. He's in his 34th year teaching fifth grade in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. So that's an amazing career. Yeah. And as Kourtney launches into her career, Kyle's going to be able to take a break or do the next chapter. But
my house.
Yeah, I do fun things, relaxing fun things.
But
yeah, it's funny because I think the one thing, and the benefit that you had, Jay, was the fact that you worked as much as you worked with public speaking and promotion. And when I heard that this situation you were in, you were almost, and I'm going to say the word, almost embarrassed, like to say it. And I'm thinking, here's this guy who seems so positive, and he'll tell you whatever he's feeling. And I thought, except now this is something about you. If it's anybody else, you're out there promoting them and making them feel good, and now it's all you. And I'm thinking, where's your advocate? You need to be your own advocate once in a while. And I think when we talked, I felt good because I could see you kind of accepting that your situation, and there you have a lovely daughter, and you once again like to be there for everything. And it was almost like you could see a light going, I deserve to be taken care of too once in a while. Now, of course, you had to do a lot of it on your own, but still, it was like you earned that. You deserve that. And I think that was probably one of those things. And doing the job I do, I like to always feel that every once in a while you get that kid who comes back to you and sends you that message and says, I'm glad I knew you. You were a good teacher. You helped me out. That's the only bonuses you get doing my job, because they don't really give you bonuses for anything else. But those bonuses are worth more than anything when you have someone tell you that they helped you and influenced you. So when you say that to me, that's the same warm fuzzy I get, knowing that somehow we've bonded and made a connection that was positive. And there's the only reward to that is I feel good that something good happened. And that's a good enough reward, for anything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking, the biggest term, and you guys know the term, that became my favorite 2 words in the kidney world were donor champion. Right? Yep. Donor champion. And you became one of my biggest donor champions. Kourtney, maybe by default, didn't even realize that fully, but she was too. And, so I think that's been so meaningful. And then to be able to be friends with you, I'm sort of Kourtney, I was told, somewhat in this circle. Somehow I'm in there. I may be hanging on the edge there, but I'm in there. I'm in the circle.
I have to say, I'm very proud of you, because I, as a recipient, have kind of like, and that might not be the right thing, but I've shied away from some of the donation stuff just because I have not yet been able to kind of deal with it the way that you have. So I'm very proud of you for getting out there and advocating. It's very much needed, and it's amazing. And I'm I want to be there, but I'm just not there yet. And that's awesome that you are, honestly.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, you guys are really an amazing duo. And you have been out there speaking and doing things. Yeah. So I thought Lizzie had a final word that she wanted to say about, I think, about just the upcoming Father's Day and maybe some other parting words.
I just want to thank you guys for coming on Zoom and doing this because it's special. And I think that, you know, coming up with Father's Day, it's like ways to be more grateful and thankful for all that, you know, the fathers have done for us. So it's nice.
I'm thankful to having known you guys. And once again, like I said, I don't want it, I don't want to beat it in the ground, but we're always proud of our kids. But if there's anybody who proves to be someone who overcomes adversity, my daughter's a poster child for that. And if you know, you could do that whole Webster's dictionary, put a picture in there kind of thing. But I believe that strongly. And you know, there's never a day I'm not proud of all my kids, but all for very different good reasons. And that's the one that I've watched as far as, well, there's another, oh, well, yeah, I got a flat tire. Oh, yeah, here I got punched in the face again, but still getting back up and not laying down on the canvas kind of thing. There's all your metaphors for today, by the way. And that's what's always impressed us here, you know, very much. And the other nice thing is, you know, she's got a very nice, her own house now. They bought a house. She has a very nice guy in her life who's a really great guy. Another thing you always worry about as a parent, I put the shotgun away now. No, I don't have one. But it's just nice to see all those rites of passage that you like to see happen for people in your family, and mark time by that. And that's, of course, the stuff we looked forward to, you know, the moving out, getting the job, graduating, getting the job, finding someone to share your life with. All of those things are really, to me, important in everybody's life. And of course, we've cherished all of that. Sometimes out loud, but sometimes to ourselves over here. So,
You know, just from a, you know, knowing Kyle for the time that I have, he's just such a great father, role model to me. And so I just want to say, you're great, Kyle. You're great, Kourtney. Thank you for
Yes.
joining us
mm,
and for
you.
sharing all that. I know it's, you know, you've shared before your stories, but still it brings up a lot, you know, of emotions and stuff. And we look forward to post pandemic, you know, getting
Yeah.
together.
I'm looking forward to that, especially
Enjoy,
with everything looking good down here.
enjoy your Saturday and enjoy your Father's Day too coming
Yeah.
up.
All right.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Love you all.
Thank you
Love
so
you.
much.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.